This is the real fucking world. And this guy's tougher than anybody in this room. If you go balls to the wall. But you're not going to go balls to the wall. And these weenies on YouTube for sure aren't going to go balls to the wall because you're at least here. If you go balls to the wall, you have never experienced anything even remotely close to this. Because you're outside your comfort zone entirely. Cognitive dissonance, like we talked about yesterday. And I just wrote him back, die after the deal closes. I don't give a fuck. Remember how I told you yesterday that a third of you approximately in the next 4 to 8 weeks we're going to be sick, pneumonia, remember? And you kind of looked at me. Nobody believed me. I'm going to ask him to read this. But this is what happens to you. I folded it over so the name's not showing. I just got this a few seconds ago, literally. I'll read the first sentence. A few hours after returning to D.C. from Orange County last night, I was rushed to the emergency room. And he can read the rest. This is what fucking happens. And this guy is twisted steel and panther piss. 6% body fat. An animal. And if you go balls to the wall, 120 hours a week, this is what the fuck happens to you. Please read it.
I was rushed to the emergency room with a case of rhabdomyolysis, a condition where muscle protein breaks down and enters the bloodstream, damaging the kidneys and liver. The doctors tell me that this was likely caused by a combination of stress, exhaustion, and overexertion during my workouts. No surprise there. Although I was in the complete agony and could barely see straight, I had the wherewithal to bring my computer and work materials with me to the emergency room. After the worst of the pain subsided, I immediately got back to work while hooked up to machines with needles in both arms. I just finished the final due diligence call with the sellers and my lawyers from my hospital bed. I refused additional painkillers in order to keep my mind sharp during the call. Everyone, including the doctors, nurses, my lawyers, and the sellers, were all shocked that I wasn't slowing down despite being hospitalized with a potentially life-threatening condition. I simply told the doctors I would rather be dead than poor. To your quantum leap.
This is the real fucking world. And this guy's tougher than anybody in this room. If you go balls to the wall. But you're not going to go balls to the wall. And these weenies on YouTube for sure aren't going to go balls to the wall because you're at least here. If you go balls to the wall, you have never experience anything even remotely close to this. Because you're outside your comfort zone entirely. Cognitive dissonance, like we talked about yesterday. And I just wrote him back, die after the deal closes. I don't give a fuck. You thought I was what's the old man smoking this morning when I told you that yesterday? I get these all the fucking time because you've never experienced extreme success equates to or equals extreme stress. Some people, there's a theory, I don't necessarily adhere to it, the cancer is brought on by stress. We've had a lot of kids get cancer. I think it's weak genes and stress, they were prone to cancer anyway, is my theory. But that's, it's a better story for me, rather than me giving cancer to people. What is the takeaway from that email?
I'd rather die than be poor.
Correct. And his was an exceedingly, not the toughest deal we've had in the last couple of years, but maybe in the top 10%. But you don't know what you don't know. And when you think one of you guys has a handshake deal with his family on his business, I laugh. Well, I laugh to myself, and now I'm laughing out loud. Handshake deal means fuck all. What about the handshake deal and the founder? I'll take care of you. Sure, they will. Anything else about the email?
Just keep moving on, moving forward.
I can just see fucking. I can just see. I hope it almost did kill him, toughen him up, because most of you have no scar tissue.
Was it part of the weekly report?
No, he just sent me an email.
Why did he feel the need to send that to you?
Because he was scheduled for another conference call with him about something else. And he says, feel free to share it with, he thought that it would do good for you meatheads. Okay, last night you saw who? Steve? Oh, one of my faves. Okay, what's your takeaway on Mr. Jobs?
He only valued himself in business life and personal life both.
He was a selfish son of a bitch. What did I tell you yesterday? You were taught, don't be selfish, share your toys with a little dipshit next door, right? Fuck the kid next door. And the horse he rode in on. What else about Steve?
perception equals reality. He put more thought in how the cube looked like on Next than how it performed.
He also, I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. He didn't give a shit. The chief engineer or the chief computer guy said it doesn't work. I don't give a fuck, make it work. What else about Steve?
No emotional attachment.
All the things that we've been talking about. And the reason why I spend so much time on it is because it's so far from how you were trained. Or trained is not the right word because you weren't anything. Nobody trained you to do shit. And guess what? You haven't done shit. Training is the operative word. Programmed. Like the Hitler Youth Movement. Programmed. What did your parents program you to do? Fuck all. And guess what? Then you've done fuck all. And again, when we have the parents, the fathers, the mothers, the grandparents, they all cry. In the universal. And what are the two reasons they give for fucking you up? We did the best we could. We did the best we could. Or, you don't know what you don't know. What kind of pathetic shit is that? And they may even cry in front of you to say it. Oh boy, that's a great role model. We did the best we could. Back in the 90s, I used to jump on them and choke them. Does this look like the best? The father's sitting here. Does this look like the best you could? Look at what she turned out to be. A fucking crack whore. But now I'm a kinder, gentler. Especially now that I'm in my mid-70s, I'm just, winding down in life. Can't even say that with a straight face. Anything else about Steve?
He was obsessed.
All these guys and gals on that wall are obsessed. And I could have 5,000 on that wall. The wall only takes so many, except for the nuns and the priests that are on there who have influenced me in my life. But they're obsessed about God, They like the nuns and the priests that I've had the privilege of knowing for many decades, they don't get confused with the facts. They're not interested in Darwin, evolution. They're not, forget Darwin, okay? I may be wrong, but, I'm never in doubt. Don't confuse me with the facts. And so, they think it was a divine intervention or however they think. Obsession, OCD is a good thing, compulsive disorder. Most of the guys and gals that we're going to talk about the rest of the week have OCD or some form of thereof. Several of them have Asperger's. I had ADHD, but as you get older, you outgrow it. Unless really you learn how to deal with it. But when I was a kid, the fact that I had ADHD and I was slightly dyslexic, they just said I was retarded. So they put me with a dunce cap, and you've seen all that. Now they have counselors, but now that we have counselors, are we any better off? No. They should put all the fucking little shits in a fucking corner with a dunce cap. I guarantee you more of them will get well from that than counseling. Anything else about Steve? Steve is not dissimilar, other than he's a little more outlandish than Ray Kroc was. And then when we see the guys tonight and then tomorrow night, you're going to see that they all, success leaves clues, they all share obsession trait, selfish trait, don't confuse me with the facts trait. Bill Gates is exactly the same. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has some of the same traits Hitler had. And Hitler's supposed to be bad. Well, he was bad. Not supposed to be. He was bad. But I'm sure that I can find people on the planet that say, if it wasn't for Mao Zedong killing 200 million people and Stalin killing 40 million and Hitler killing 20 million, we'd have even less food to feed the people. What we need is another Mao Zedong to kill 300 or 400 million people. Now that'll go fucking viral. That'll be better than my fucking global warming rant. Okay, what else did you see with Steve? Yes, sir.
Musicians play the instruments, the conductor plays the orchestra.
And that's what when you go back, remember Deb said yesterday in the webinar, they will be blown away. Senior partners of the big four firms, the lawyers of the big four firms, because you're going to be in there talking to them, one, in a language they understand, because their language, as opposed to them trying to dumb down to your language, and it's a language of doing deals. Now, some of the kids, I've never counted these up, so I don't know, say that you only need to know between 25 and 30 phrases in QLA to do deals, 25 to 30. The nomenclature of QLA, 25 to 30. I never went through and counted it, but I don't even think you need to know 25 or 30. As soon as you tell the financial institutions, whether it's a bank, an insurance company, a pension fund, or God forbid, a private equity, that they're going to ask you something like, the numbers stack up. There's this dog hunt, okay? And you're going to say, when you get your little 3x5, a little fucking card, and you're going to say something to the effect, of course, debt service is covered 2 times by cash flow. A deal right now, if you were like an IBM or British Telecom or General Motors, they are making loans at 1.1. Cash flow is 1.1. In other words, 10% more than debt service. That's if you're a 3A, a AAA, 5-star company. The lower the credit rating you have, or the worse the credit you're perceived to perhaps be, it goes from 1.1 to 1.25 to 1.35 to 1.5 to 1.75 to 2. Most of the deals that you're going to look at will be a minimum of 1.5. Cash flow is covered by, debt service is covered by cash flow. Some of the deals you're going to look at is 2 times. I can bring my boxer, my 15-year-old boxer in here and get money at 2 times cash flow from a bank, Barclays. Max just put his little print down, you know. And some of the deals that are being done now are 3 times debt service. 3. Between 2 and 3 times debt service, you probably won't have to guarantee it. You may even, and at 3 times, you probably get non-recourse. Meaning, if you fuck up, you don't have to pay it back. We're going to talk a lot about non-recourse starting tomorrow. Most of you, I've never heard of non-recourse money. Non-recourse means you don't have to pay it back if it all goes sideways. Okay, what else about what you saw last night? One of the other ones you saw. Yes, sir.
Focus on the view.
Focus on the few. Clausewitz, the famous Prussian general, said about focus on the few, and they still use this at West Point and Sandhurst. And he was talking about battles. You can't spread yourself too thin. Hitler and Napoleon both failed trying to invade Russia because they were fighting another war at the same time. And that's why I tell you, focus on the few. You cannot fight 2 wars. You cannot fight with your significant other about what you're doing and get QLA done. It's not possible. So either your significant other just is quiet and shuts up, or she really gets on board. And when we talk about appointments, the first appointments that I make, I find out when your birthday is. Because they list that on fucking Facebook, they list it on, I'm not sure if they list it on LinkedIn. If your birthday is August the 4th, that's our first meeting. 8 o'clock at night, August the 4th. Valentine's Day, first meeting. Christmas Eve, first meeting. Rosh Hashanah, Ramadan. And we'll see how many of you show up. Michael Milken, the king of junk bonds back in the day, his first meetings when you're going to pitch him a deal were either 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. I remember him telling me, this is 30 years ago, Danny, you have no idea how many meetings that eliminates for me. At his house in Encino. 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. What else about what you saw last night? What was the other one? There was something else. I know you saw the little kid jump on the cattle again. Yeah, but we've already talked about that.
Embark.
Oh, Dan. Other than him being one of my superstars, but and has been for a long time. He didn't wear his red suit when he interviewed me the other day. But what about Dan?
Remember, like, exceed your self-image?
Correct. That's that's a different way of saying you only have one time to make a first impression. You actually have 2. One, the way they look, the way they see you look, and then when you open your mouth. Some of my kids look great, but when they open their mouth, they step on their dick, and that's because they haven't practiced. They haven't gone in front of the video camera and to see in the beginning how poorly you are. You come across. Any questions on anything that you saw last night? Please pass in your homework. It'll be a better story if this guy dies. I'll have a better story. Better story. Because I'm certainly not emotionally tied to it, as you can, I think, see. Now, I told you, let's see, 11 million, another around 10 million banks already fighting. The guy from Australia, yeah, got approved, who just did the $6.6 million deal, and he's got now $11 million deal, and another deal, $10 million deal. Gave the seller equity, $14 million deal. Once you do, and his first deal wasn't particularly large, $6.6 million, but once you do a deal your chemistry changes. One, you know you're not going to go broke. Two, even though everybody else did make QLA work, Josh Kim and everybody and Dan Pena, but now you know you made it work. Three, the people that your board, cohesive, comes together because now they know that they made it work. And your life is forever different. And now your self-confidence, self-esteem, and all those things that we pounded to death yesterday come together.